problems. That guy, he just has to touch you once.
Shit's going down.
He's so different than anybody else in the division. Like, he knocks everybody out. Everybody hits hard. They all hit hard.
But
that
shit
fucking
down.
dude hits hard.
Set that Jake Paul can come 15-20% in regards to Anthony Joshua. He's a completely different specimen. Look, you'll see what it looks like when they stand next to each other.
Joe Rogan has officially reacted to Anthony Joshua's insane new training regimen for the rumored Jake Paul fight, and trust me, his reaction says everything. After watching leaked footage of Joshua ripping explosive combinations and grinding with elite world-class coaches, Rogan straight up called the former heavyweight champion terrifying. According to Rogan, Jake Paul might have finally picked a fight he can't talk his way out of. With Joshua looking more focused, faster, and meaner than he's looked in years, Rogan believes this matchup could end brutally and quickly if Jake actually steps into the ring.
Need to get strong.
The Jake Paul vs. Anthony Joshua showdown is officially a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight fight under traditional Queensberry rules. They're going 8 rounds, 3 minutes each, with both men wearing 10-ounce gloves, meaning this is pure high-level boxing. But here's the twist: Anthony Joshua must come in at 245 pounds or less, a strict weight cap designed to keep things competitive and remove any excuses. And make no mistake, this isn't an exhibition, not a sparring match, not a money grab. The result goes directly onto both fighters' professional records. This is the real deal.
Professional bout. This is going on people's records. AJ got to take him serious because this isn't some exhibition. We're running out some judges to act like there's a decision and someone won. No, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose here. It's 8 rounds, 3-minute rounds. Again, heavyweight pro bout, 10-ounce gloves. AJ talking about breaking internets over faces. I think he meant to say breaking his face on the internet. Who knows? Maybe you can do both in the big 2025. But then you have the weight limit, 245 pounds. And people are automatically going to go, oh, God, here's the thing. Oh, here's the thing in the contract. No, stop all that. And I'm going to go on a rant in a second for all the people that thought this was fake, for all the people that thought that Jake wouldn't do this, for all the people that thought he was scared. I'm going to go on that rant in a second. But, okay, yes, 245 is a weird number because Jake has already fought at heavyweight. He fought Mike Tyson at 220-something. But again, I understand it a little bit. We're on short notice here. You don't want to have a Tyson Fury type situation, which AJ would never be 290 coming in here. But 260, 270, it starts to get out of the realm of possibility of, like, what are we doing here? Even though heavyweight has no limit,
Issa Badarian, the CEO of Most Valuable Promotions and Jake Paul's key promoter, told Sky Sports that the December 19th fight with Anthony Joshua is nothing less than a massive, global-level event. He acknowledged that Joshua is the far more experienced boxer, but said Jake Paul's fearless, almost delusional confidence could be the X factor that changes everything. Badarian described the matchup as a symbolic clash, and revealed that their team moved incredibly fast, compressing negotiations and planning into a shockingly short window to lock this fight in. He also confirmed strict weight limits and full professional rules, ensuring this is a serious, high-stakes showdown, not a spectacle. According to Badarian, this fight is far less of a mismatch than Joshua's previous bout with Francis Ngannou. Yes, Ngannou was a massive heavyweight, but he lacked true boxing experience. In contrast, Badarian says Jake Paul has developed rapidly, gaining real skill, ring IQ, and maturity, enough to make this fight with Joshua significantly more competitive than people think.
Wait, will there be a limit for Joshua?
So there's a lot of discussion around the weight. Joshua fought Usyk twice. Both of those times, Usyk was 221 pounds. Joshua was 240 to 245. When Jake fought Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230, and Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built for the big moments. So do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony Joshua? 100%.
According to multiple fight experts, Jake Paul is taking an enormous risk by stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua. Former cruiserweight champion Lawrence Oakley has warned that Joshua's sheer size, power, and physical presence make this matchup a serious health risk for Paul. Meanwhile, two-time world champion David Benavidez didn't sugarcoat anything. He said Jake Paul is walking straight into a trap, facing a man with years of elite-level experience that Paul simply cannot match.
Give 100% respect to Jake Paul. But that's a dangerous fight for him. He probably gets knocked out. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not saying nothing bad. But Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. You know, he's multiple-time champion, Olympic gold medalist. You know what I mean? The last time somebody stepped in the ring with him that didn't have that much boxing experience was Ngannou, and you've seen what happened to him. Yeah. But big respects to Jake Paul. It's going to be a good card. You know what I mean? It's a big fight. And so good fight, man. I give 100% respect to Jake Paul for even taking that fight.
The Ring 4, November 22nd. Watch only on DAZN.
Carl Froch has taken aim at Anthony Joshua's decision to fight Jake Paul, suggesting that AJ is essentially cashing out, and he's not wrong to question it. According to Froch, Joshua has already earned generational wealth and reached the pinnacle of the sport, so at this stage, he appears more motivated by money than legacy. Froch argues that with AJ's financial security and championship resume, there's nothing left for him to prove in traditional boxing. Instead, Froch believes Joshua has chosen the easiest, highest-paying route by taking a crossover matchup with Jake Paul, rather than chasing the toughest challenges in the heavyweight division.
What else have we got to consider? Is AJ cashing out? Well, I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished now. He won't get that confidence back. He's not had any confidence, in his head. No belief for a long time, and I don't think he can get back to world level. There's a couple of new young guns now coming up and coming through. It's like a changing of the guard, and when Usyk retires, I don't know what Daniel Dubois is going to do next, but what Daniel Dubois did to him, then he went on and lost to Usyk. But there's a few new heavyweights coming through, Moses Atalma, just to mention one, and you wouldn't start putting AJ in with any of these young up-and-comers that can punch hard, because I just don't think he's got the chance, because the ambition and the desire is going to be gone. So AJ most definitely is cashing out, and you can't fault him. Fair play to him. He's going to get a massive payday, maximise his exit route.
Boxing fans genuinely believe Jake Paul could shock the world and beat Anthony Joshua, and they're putting their money on one thing: Jake's power. Despite the YouTuber-turned-boxer label, Paul has proven he can punch, dropping and knocking out multiple opponents with real force. Even Tyson Fury recently predicted that Jake could knock AJ out, pointing to Paul's growing size and improving power at heavyweight. Jake himself hasn't backed down either. He's repeatedly claimed that Joshua's chin is vulnerable, insisting that one clean, well-timed shot could end the fight early.
Do you think he can win, Jake Paul?
I think it's a possibility. No one is backing Jake Paul currently. You've seen him in the ring. You can see that he's got some knockout power. And I also believe people don't look at Joshua's last few fights. And I don't think it's going to be as big of a landslide as people feel. I feel like there's an overhand right that could easily land, and I wouldn't predict that Joshua's chin can last that. The problem is that all of the pressure's on Joshua at the moment. So Jake Paul, if he gets knocked out in 12 seconds, he should get knocked out. The problem is, as soon as Joshua starts taking damage, all of a sudden he's thinking, the world is watching me, I'm a professional fighter, and I'm getting beat off a YouTuber. All of the pressure is on Joshua, and that's a lot that can weigh on a man. You can't deny that Jake Paul has power. I think it's one of his only attributes. I think he's a very poor boxer, but what he does have is a weird technique where you don't know what
he's got power. How do we know he's got power?
He's knocked people out. Joshua has all of the world looking at him thinking you should walk him over. If it gets 2 rounds, 3 rounds inside, I think Joshua loses.
Many are calling this the ultimate David versus Goliath matchup. Jake Paul, a fighter who built his name through social media and lighter weight bouts, is now stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua, a towering heavyweight armed with championship pedigree and a massive physical edge. Joshua's sheer size, strength, and elite experience make him the clear Goliath in this story. Meanwhile, Jake Paul enters as the underdog, relying on his heart, ambition, and raw self-belief to somehow level the playing field.
Don't judge Anthony Joshua for getting the bag, as the kids say, for going to wherever the fight's going to take place and taking $92 million for going up against Jake Paul, right? You can't give him for that. You can't judge him for that. But don't try and tell me that this is a real professional boxing contest. I'm saying my guess is that this will be an exhibition matchup. And if it is, it'll be one hell of a show. And I'll certainly tune in. And fair play to both men because they're making an absolute goddamn killing. But what is going on? Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. It's a lose-lose for Joshua. It's a win-win for Jake Paul.
One of the biggest concerns surrounding Anthony Joshua taking on Jake Paul is AJ's limited activity over the past 2 years. After his split decision loss to Alexander Usyk in 2022, Joshua's schedule slowed down noticeably. He returned with a KO win over Robert Helenius in August 2023, followed by a dominant victory against Otto Wallin in December 2023, and then a knockout of Francis Ngannou in March 2024. Even with those wins, critics argue that Joshua has been too sporadic, raising questions about his sharpness heading into a risky fight like this.
Anthony Joshua is his activity. He's only fought twice in 2 years, and one of them he got knocked out off Daniel Dubois. That was his last fight, and a lot of people say you can only judge a fighter's quality from their last fight. And then the fight before that was a win, but it was a win against Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, if you know, he was the UFC heavyweight who's not a real boxer, and he only had one fight before that boxing fight, what he lost as well. So that's his activity in boxing. Now Jake Paul, on the other hand, looking at his box rec, he's had 6 fights since 2023, and one of them was against Mike Tyson. But we all seen what happened in that fight. Mike Tyson was well past his prime. Where Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, is, well, I'm not going to say he's coming into his prime because he had some great wins earlier on in his career before he lost to Usyk twice. And by the way, when he did lose to Usyk, the last one was a split decision. It was a pretty close fight. So now this fight is matched, and I just want to look at the tail of the tape. Now, looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. Now, come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Now, in the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights, and he's lost 4 with 25 KO.
David Haye has issued a dire warning about the upcoming Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, calling it a blatant mismatch. Speaking to Sky News, the former heavyweight champion said Joshua could inflict horrendous damage on Paul and warned that the YouTuber's safety is at serious risk. Haye even suggested this could feel like Paul's last day on earth if he underestimates Joshua's size, power, and experience. The physical gap between the two fighters is staggering. Joshua stands at 6 feet 6 inches with an 82-inch reach and usually weighs between 240 to 250 pounds, though he's capped at 245 pounds for this fight. Jake Paul, on the other hand, is around 6 feet 1 inch with a 76-inch reach and has bulked up to roughly 227 pounds for his heavyweight bouts after spending most of his career as a cruiserweight. This size and weight advantage gives Joshua a massive edge in both power and reach, making the matchup extremely dangerous for Paul.
Fight, £100 million potentially. Are you confident it'll happen?
I wasn't confident when I first heard about it. It sounds like one of those fairy tale fights that people talk about but don't actually get over the line. I heard this 3-4 months ago. I just dismissed it. I heard it a week ago. I went along with it, but deep down I thought this isn't going to happen. And today it's been made official. Jake Paul is going to get in a ring in a boxing match, boxing gloves, to mix it with one of the most dangerous heavyweights on the planet. Someone who is Olympic gold medalist, won the heavyweight championship twice. Although he lost his last fight against a very good Daniel Dubois, he's a top 10 heavyweight on the planet versus internet sensation, someone who's a latecomer to boxing and has boxed at a very moderate level. I'm talking domestic level, and he lost to Tommy Fury, for instance, and Tommy Fury, who he lost to, versus Anthony Joshua, they're two completely different sports. So I commend Jake Paul for putting himself in harm's way, because boxing is a dangerous game. People have died in the ring. People have been seriously injured, maimed. And he believes in himself enough to do it on a massive scale, because it's not about the money. He's got enough money. This is him wanting to push the boundaries of reality. He's manifested an amazing life for himself. He's a superstar. And I think he wants to try and do the unthinkable. He wants to, it's an insane challenge he's put himself up for, but you've got to give him credit.
You say an insane challenge. You've described it before as Jake Paul being a cat versus Anthony Joshua's lion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not equally matched on any sense, are they?
There's not one element of their boxing skill set that Jake Paul can come 15, 20% in regards to Anthony Joshua. He's a completely different specimen. Look, you'll see what it looks like when they stand next.
Anthony Joshua is taking a huge risk by agreeing to fight Jake Paul, and for many experts, it's not just about what happens in the ring, but what it could do to his legacy. Former heavyweight Dave Allen warned that if Paul even lands a single punch, it could taint everything Joshua has built in his career. Critics argue this fight is less about sport and more about money. Eddie Hearn defended it bluntly, saying, "You can't eat legacy." The concern is growing that AJ could trade his respected reputation for a massive payday, and if things go wrong, he risks being remembered not as a boxing legend, but as a fighter who chased cash over greatness.
A lot of boxing fans will think this is a massive stain on his career and a bit of an embarrassment. Now, you two have done it. I'm sure you would both fight Jake Paul tomorrow, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but we're both retired. And we'll be looking at it saying, still an easy fight because he can't box, he's useless. So it's risk reward, minimum risk, massive reward. So of course we'd fight Jamie.
No, but you say that, it's a big risk, Carl. Big risk.
I'm not having that.
Big risk. If you don't go and annihilate him in the first 30 seconds,
it's fixed.
Can you right, it's fixed. Oh, he's pulling him round.
Yeah.
He's talking about me fighting him though. So would you think that was fixed if I didn't go and annihilate him? 11 years retired. I think that's the point George makes. He always has a little dig and says,
no, but
say
you go out there and it's a tough fight for you. You can say, well, what would you expect? I haven't boxed for 11 years. But then it's like, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. Do you want that?
Nobody thinks any less.
You've got the best ending.
Yeah, I've got
your career.
Definitely. So, nobody thinks any less of Mike Tyson because he lost to Jake Paul.
He was 58 years old.
Yeah, exactly. So
he's in hospital a week before.
Snap been retired 11 years, and I'd still go in there, in my opinion, and whoop him. I don't think it'd be hard at all. So listen, he won't fight me. He's pretending he don't know who I am now, for a start. So he's thought.
How can he not know who you are?
Froch means business. How can he not know?
However, many boxing experts and fans are starting to believe that Anthony Joshua may be entering the prime of his career despite setbacks, including 2 losses to Alexander Usyk. Joshua has shown remarkable resilience, bouncing back stronger with every fight. Observers have noticed a new aura around him in recent months. He appears more composed, laser-focused, and fiercely determined than ever before.
What it takes. But then sports is so psychological. Combat is so psychological. And I think the ups and downs of AJ's career have come because of the ups and downs of the psychology, you know? When AJ's on mentally, he's a different guy, man. I mean, I can remember early in his career just being this destroyer and just having this utter mean streak in there, and it would just come out of him when he would fight, and you could just see it. He had that it factor, and he was so popular. I mean, and then I remember being at the Ruiz fight at the Garden, and he gets hit with like this grazing shot, never recovers, and he's gone. And this is after I watched him knock out Klitschko at Wembley, getting up off the canvas in front of a crazy crowd. So I'm like, I'm leaving the Garden then, and I'm like, what happened to this guy? What?
Anthony Joshua's decision to face Jake Paul is a high-stakes gamble, both physically and reputationally. While the fight promises a massive payday, insiders worry it could tarnish AJ's legacy if things go wrong. Critics argue that Joshua risks turning what should be a celebrated veteran comeback into a circus spectacle. On the other hand, this bout could be the perfect reward for years of hard work and epic fights. But at this stage in his career, taking such a risky crossover matchup, one that could end in a shocking upset or serious injury, is far from a guaranteed win.
A lot of people have said, well, if he doesn't knock him out the way in which he knocked out Francis Ngannou, he's a sham, this is a sham, this is all rigged. A lot of people said if Jake wins, this is a sham, this is rigged. A lot of people said if he goes the distance with Jake, this is a sham, this is all rigged. Some people are saying even before it was finalized, Gareth on our show, although he folded quite quickly when he was face to face with Eddie at the open workouts. I saw that on IFL TV, I do believe, saying that his legacy is already in question as a result of taking this fight. Now, I'm surprised that people like Gareth say this. Look, this may not be your cup of tea. You can say, I want to see Anthony Joshua fight other heavyweights. I want to see him fight the likes of, I don't know, Joseph Parker. I want to see him fight Martin Bakoli. I want to see him fight Caballel. I want to see him fight Zhilei Zhang. I want to see him fight Hrgovic.
So, what do you think? Is Anthony Joshua making a smart move chasing the payday? Or is he putting his legacy on the line by stepping into the ring with Jake Paul? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your take.